back to the Presence of Being podcast. Thank you for being here and being a part of our community. Hope you're having a great day wherever you are listening to this. If my voice sounds a little bit deeper than it normally does in this recording than my other recordings, it's because I'm recording this very early in the morning. It's very snowy and cold where I am right now, so just made myself a coffee and just gonna have a casual, nice conversation and gonna talk about something that's been on my mind for a little bit and something that I think has really helped me in terms of my self-development, which is the importance of being self-aware and how to cultivate more self-awareness. So in this recording, I want to talk about what self-awareness is, why it's important, and then certain practices that you can do in your daily life to help cultivate more self-awareness. Now, this is something that I am just continuing to learn. I don't have all the answers, of course. I'm 24 years old. I'm just figuring all this stuff out. But I will say that I feel like I am very self-aware, and people close to me, I think, would also say that I am very self-aware. So I just want to share some things that I've learned and some things that I've done that I think have helped me in terms of my journey to becoming more self-aware and just being honest and truthful and just sharing things that have helped me and things that I've learned. So first and foremost, what is self-awareness? Well, at its core, I think self-awareness is just the ability to observe and understand your own thoughts, your own feelings, your motivations in life, your desires, being able to observe and understand your behaviors and your actions, and just being conscious of your character, of your feelings, your emotions, your motives. Being able to look inward without bias or judgment. And being self-aware, I think, number one, allows us to recognize our triggers. Being able to understand what triggers us. Knowing what makes us feel a certain way and understanding what makes us feel certain emotions or react in specific ways. When we are self-aware, it helps us, it allows us to just recognize these triggers way better and just more effectively. Being self-aware also allows us to understand our own values and beliefs. And I think this is probably one of the most important things that being self-aware allows us to do. Knowing who it is you are and having a really good understanding of your values, your principles, your mission, your purpose, your vision is so important. Knowing what truly matters to you. Having a deep understanding of what is the kind of things that you stand for, the kind of things that you're not going to tolerate, certain things that are non-negotiable for you, and just the way that you show up in the world and the way that you operate, the way that you carry yourself. I think that's so important, and individuals who are self-aware have a deep sense of this, have a deep understanding of their purpose, their standard, their mission, their values. Individuals who are self-aware are able to identify their strengths and weaknesses very easily too, or at least better than someone who really isn't self-aware, right? When we're able to recognize the kind of areas where we excel or the kind of areas where we need more growth is so important. And also, it helps us cultivate more mindfulness and peace internally. When you're stressed out, when you're anxious, when you face resistance, individuals who are self-aware may know, okay, this is a perfect opportunity for me to kind of just detach for a second and cultivate more presence, look inward for answers. Self-awareness, just generally speaking, it's all about just being mindful of the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that you act in real time. And it involves having an awareness of both what's going on internally and what's going on externally. So our internal world, thoughts, emotions, the way that we're feeling, and external world. So the way that we interact and relate to other people in our environment, in our external life. So why is self-awareness so important? Self-awareness, I think, is absolutely critical and crucial for our overall growth, our overall personal growth, because it helps us understand where we're at currently, our current state, where we are currently, and helps us identify areas in which we can improve and get better and grow. Think about this for a second. You can't grow or change if you have not first recognized what needs change. If you haven't recognized or identified what needs change or what needs to grow, what you need to improve upon, then nothing's going to grow, nothing's going to change, nothing's going to improve. When you're self-aware, you're able to look inward, to look externally and see, okay, this is what needs to improve, this is what needs to change, this is what I need to focus more of my time and energy on. When we're self-aware, it allows us to recognize our limiting beliefs, maybe negative thought patterns we have or unhealthy habits, and we're able to look at these things and say, okay, this is no longer serving me, or this isn't serving me, or doing these things aren't helping me, and I'm recognizing that, and I'm now going to proactively seek solutions by doing whatever it is I need to do so we can take steps forward and improve. Another huge reason why self-awareness is so important is because it has such a large impact on the quality of our relationships. There's a great quote I read somewhere, heard somewhere, I can't remember who said it, but the quote is, "Know yourself to know others." Self-awareness plays a huge role in our interactions with other people and the relationships that we have with other people. And by understanding your own emotions, your own triggers, your own thoughts, the way that you communicate, just being aware of all these things, we're able to then show up more authentically in the relationships that we have with other people. We're able to listen more attentively. We're able to be more empathetic. We're able to communicate in a way that is just beneficial for everyone involved. Know yourself to know others. We're going to talk about this a little bit later in terms of ways to cultivate more self-awareness. But if you don't have a foundation with yourself, if you don't know yourself, if you don't love yourself, it's going to be hard for you to give love openly to other people. It's going to be hard for you to maybe understand someone better because you don't have a good understanding of yourself. You don't know what your wants are. You don't know what your values are. You don't know what your standards are. And because of that, that's going to spill over in your ability to cultivate healthy and good relationships, at least in my opinion. Another reason why self-awareness is so important is because we're going to be able to make better decisions when we're more self-aware. People who are self-aware are able to make better choices, better decisions, and decisions that are aligned with their standards, with their values, with their principles, and their long-term goals. When you understand what your intentions are, when you understand what your values are, your principles, your standards, you're able to then avoid making decisions and choices that aren't in alignment with those values and standards or principles. And this is regardless of any external pressure. Because you have conviction around your standards, your values, your principles, regardless of external pressure, you're going to stay firm in that belief. And like I said, when you know what you believe and you know who you are and you know what you want to stand for, you're able to make decisions that are in alignment with that, and you're able to at least be better at avoiding making decisions that aren't in alignment with that. So how do we then cultivate more self-awareness? Well, I can wholeheartedly say that probably the biggest way you can cultivate more self-awareness, and again, I'm just talking from my perspective and from my experience, is isolating yourself in some way, shape, or form, or just spending more time by yourself. I'm 24 now, but when I made the mental decision and I really committed to building a solid foundation with myself and understanding the importance of building that foundation and just becoming more self-aware, I was 20. And especially when you're that age, and even the age that I'm in now, a lot of people just distract themselves. They hop from relationship to relationship. They go out a lot. They hang around people that maybe aren't the best for them in terms of their overall self-development and growth, but they just do stupid shit and they go out all the time and they party and whatever. And a lot of people just don't, at least from my experience, again, just things that I've observed, they don't really care about figuring out who it is they are and how they want to show up in the world and the kind of person that they want to be. It's just not something that they think about. When I was 20, like I said, I made the decision, I really want to make something of myself and I want to build something and I want to create something, and I know that I need to do the inner work first. I need to build this foundation with myself and get clear about the kind of person I want to be and how I want to operate and how I want to show up in the world and my standards, my principles, my values as an individual, things that are non-negotiable for me. And I know that if I'm able to build this foundation through just spending more time by myself and getting clear on all these things, I'm able to then graduate and leave school and have this foundation that I'm able to lean on and then build upon. I've definitely made this comment before, whether it be in different podcast episodes. I know I've mentioned this in like certain TikTok videos, but if I were to come to you and ask, what's the best way to get to know someone? You would probably say, well, the best way to get to know someone would be to spend more time with that person, spend more quality time one-on-one with that person. By spending more quality time with someone, you're just inevitably going to get to know them better. And the same thing is true for the relationship that you have with yourself. If you want to start developing a better relationship with yourself, if you want to start becoming more familiar with yourself or becoming more comfortable in your own skin, spend more quality time alone. Spend more quality time with yourself. Learn to become more comfortable in your own skin. Of course, this is a lot easier said than done, especially in the world that we live in. Today's society with social media, there's so much pressure to be engaged and connected and always available. And this can make spending time alone feel uncomfortable or anxiety-inducing for some people. But I think it's just so important. Spend time by yourself. It's a superpower if you're able to do this. Like, there's a shift nowadays where people believe that like productivity is associated with constantly just like being out there, being busy, and people equate their value with how many people they interact with and how busy they are. And if they're just sitting quietly like by themselves, like people assume that that's lazy or being unproductive. So people avoid it, but I think it's so important. Spending time by yourself is a superpower. When you start to become more comfortable in your own skin, it's a superpower. Whether it's spending time meditating, whether it's just spending time, just being in your own presence and enjoying your own presence, I think this is a great way to become more self-aware. And that's the first thing that I'm going to mention in terms of how to cultivate more self-awareness. If you can start to spend more time by yourself and just enjoy your own presence, I think go a really long way. Now, the second thing I think that can help in terms of one cultivating more self-awareness in their life is through meditation. Now, this kind of ties directly into the first point about spending more time by yourself, but through meditating, you're able to just observe the thoughts and emotions that come up during your meditation, and you're able to do so without judgment, without attaching yourself to those thoughts or to those emotions. And by doing that, you start to see patterns in your thinking and the way that you feel. You're able to ask yourself certain questions maybe after your meditation, like, am I being critical of myself? Do certain thoughts that come up in my meditation, do they trigger something within me? You're able to just observe, detach from the thoughts that you have or these emotions from a very non-judgmental space and just see how you're feeling, which overall I think can help you become more self-aware. Meditation, it trains your mind to stay focused in the present moment, helps you become more aware of what's going on right here, right now in each moment. It helps you become more mindful of each moment, which I think is only going to help you become more self-aware as well. When you're able to observe yourself within meditation, you become more compassionate, I think. You're able to notice when you have negative thoughts, when you have positive thoughts, from this very non-judgmental space, from this detached state. You're able to see what things come up frequently, what kind of things, like I said, may trigger you. You're able to just be aware of what's going on internally. Also, and I think this is kind of underrated, like I don't see a lot of people talking about this, but when you're meditating, like certain things may pop up that you should be exploring a little bit more. Like things that are a priority, things that you should be spending more time and energy on may pop up frequently in meditation because you're blocking out all the noise, you're getting quiet, and things that are a priority pop up. The most important things pop up when you're in meditation, which is going to help you become more self-aware. You begin to notice these things that pop up, certain habits, certain patterns, certain beliefs that you may have not been aware of before, but something that you should be maybe focusing more of your time and energy on, something that you should be investigating. And I think this is pretty obvious, but regular presence practices, regular meditation helps you be more calm. When the mind is calm, when the mind is clear, when it's centered, when you're aligned, you're able to observe what's going on in your environment with more clarity. You're able to observe what's going on internally with more clarity, more calm, more clarity, more focus, which again, I think is only going to help you just be more self-aware. And a third thing that I think can help one cultivate more self-awareness is through journaling. Just writing down your thoughts, writing down your feelings, writing down what it is you're grateful for can be a great way to develop more self-awareness. Whether it be you reflecting upon your day, asking yourself what emotions came up throughout that day, what you were feeling, what you were thinking, if you were triggered by certain things that happened in your day-to-day life, how you responded to certain things that happen in your day-to-day life. All these things are going to help you become more self-aware. You're able to notice patterns to see if there's certain themes that pop up regularly in terms of your thoughts or your behaviors, the way that you respond to certain things. And as you become more aware of these things, you're able to reflect upon them and see if you can make improvements upon them and grow from them. When you take inventory of what's going on and you check in with yourself through journaling, whether it be a daily thing or something that you do a couple times a week, it's only going to help you develop more mental clarity by allowing us to reflect upon our thoughts, our emotions, the way that we're feeling. When we get it out of us and onto a piece of paper, onto a computer screen, we perceive it in a different way. We look at it in a different way. So all these things, I think, can help one cultivate more self-awareness in their day-to-day life, or just generally. And just to recap, it's isolation, or just learning to be more comfortable in your own skin, building that foundation with yourself by spending more time, more quality time with yourself. Number 2 would be meditation, being able to identify certain thoughts and emotions that come up from a very non-judgmental, detached state, and also seeing what comes up that maybe we should be giving more of our energy and attention on, what's important that continuously pops up that maybe we should be pursuing, and also journaling, being able to get our thoughts, our feelings out of our minds onto a piece of paper, onto a computer screen, and by doing that, being able to look at our thoughts, look at our emotions or the way that we're feeling in a different way, which provides us with mental clarity and gives us an opportunity to reflect upon these things, reflect upon our thoughts and feelings and just what we're going through. So that's pretty much all I wanted to get across in this recording. Self-awareness is important. When you start to really build that foundation with yourself and you get clear about the kind of things that are important to you and how you want to carry yourself and how you want to operate, and you start reflecting upon these things, I think it can change your life and improve your relationships. I know it's done that for me in my life. So I'm just sharing, again, things that I've learned on my journey and just as I continue to grow. So I hope that you got some sort of value from listening to this. Again, all these recordings are just me talking about things that I've learned, things that have made a positive impact on my life, and things that I tried implementing in my daily life as I continue to go after my goals and build presence of being. And I'm just sharing it. Hopefully it can inspire someone. So hope you got some value from listening to this. Thank you for being here and for being a part of Presence of Being. And I will see you in the next recording very, very soon.